joined now by Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland. Thank you so much, Senator, for joining us.
Lindsay, it's great to be with you.
So Pierre Thomas just reported on the U.S. announcing sanctions against 4 Russian-linked individuals for attempting to influence our election. The administration has been accused of trying to downplay the threat from Russian interference. But do these sanctions show that they're actually taking it seriously?
Not really. If they were really taking it seriously, they would endorse the bipartisan legislation that Marco Rubio and I have introduced. It's called the Deter Act. And rather than simply slap the risk of a few Russian individuals who may be involved in interference, it would say up front to Vladimir Putin and Russia, if we catch you interfering in our elections again, there will be serious economic penalties to pay, including sanctions against your banking sector, against your energy sector. That would show some seriousness on the part of the Trump administration, but they have actively opposed that bill. In other words, they've opposed a bill to say to Vladimir Putin, if we catch you again, there will be very serious consequences, which tells me that they're not serious. In fact, they're willing to allow this interference to continue.
And turning now to the economic impact of the pandemic, Democrats today blocked passage in the Senate of a pared-down $300 billion GOP stimulus bill. Senator McConnell said in an interview after the vote, what part of this bill are they opposed to? What they are saying is we won't pass things that we are even in favor of unless you give us trillions more. Now, I know Democrats argue this bill didn't come close to meeting the country's needs, but do you stand by Senator Schumer and Speaker Pelosi's insistence that they will not negotiate further unless Republicans come up to over $2 trillion in spending?
Well, there were 2 problems with this bill. One is that it was completely inadequate to the needs of the moment and the national emergency we face. It was really paltry, and in fact, they're moving in the wrong direction compared to where the Trump administration was just a few weeks ago. But it's worse than that. They also have provisions in here that would penalize public schools that, for safety reasons, have decided not to return students to the classroom to the extent that Republican senators like. They actually create dangerous incentives for schools now to open, even if they think it's unsafe, because that will give them more money. That is a very dangerous move, and it's coupled with a provision that actually would allow millionaires to get tax breaks to pay for their sons and daughters to get private tutoring. So they shortchange public schools, they create dangerous incentives for schools, and then they give tax breaks to millionaires to privately tutor their children. That is not what the American people are looking for.
But as you well know, speaking of the American people, many are hurting right now. Why is it not worth negotiating at a lower level that Republicans may support to at least get some relief to Americans who so desperately need it, especially for the schools and small businesses and those who are unemployed?
Well, I think we've made it very clear that we're willing to come down from the numbers that were in the House Passed HEROES Act. And, you know, by the way, Mitch McConnell and Senate Republicans just let that sit on the Senate calendar for 4 months before even beginning to take action. When they finally took action in the Senate, Mitch McConnell has not said, okay, Democrats, what's your proposal? He took this unilateral action. It was a political ploy to give his senators, especially those who are in tight reelections, political cover so they can point to something, even though it's totally inadequate. We have said all along, Lindsay, that we are willing and want to negotiate an emergency relief package that meets the moment for the American people. This has no funds for rental assistance, no funds for frontline workers in states and municipalities. It has no money for a whole category of things that Republican senators themselves, many of them, have said need help. So we are more than willing to reach a resolution that meets the needs of the American people.
So as we sit here tonight, would you say that any economic stimulus effort that both sides can agree on is effectively dead until after the election in November? And if that's the case, how do you think that voters will react to that as they're considering who to send back to Congress?
No, I certainly hope it's not effectively dead. I hope that we can get back to the negotiating table. I hope Mitch McConnell will come to his senses. I hope he will stop playing politics and actually put some ideas forward, working with Democrats, that will meet the emergency that the moment requires. Look, we've witnessed a White House now that has failed to meet the moment since the very beginning, even though we now know the president knew about it. And Mitch McConnell and Senate Republicans have been complicit in doing nothing. I mean, it was Mitch McConnell who said just a little while ago, there's no rush, there's no urgency here. And if you look at what they put forward today, it shows he still doesn't think there's a lot of urgency. We do, and we are more than willing and have expressed that multiple times to come to an agreement on something that will really help the country and meet the moment. I hope we get right back to it. I do think that it's important that the country receive additional relief, and that's what the HEROES Act did. But it doesn't have to be the HEROES Act, but it has to be something meaningful.
Senator Van Hollen, we thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you coming on.
Good to be with you. Thanks.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.